1, 2. What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this evening's late night agenda, because of course I will be joined by Jack Gill and James Redmond later on at 8:45. So as promised, I'll come on to do my show with just me and you guys, where we get to have a bit of an intimate chat around what's going on with Liverpool Football Club. We will talk about Adeyemi. Of course, we'll talk about last night's game. We'll have a little chat around Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, because I believe I treated him a little bit unfairly last night with my my match rating for him. Having watched the game back, I do see what Jack and what Chris were saying, and I did pick up on a few bits that I didn't notice when I watched the game first time around. But look, loads to go through, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I know that notifications aren't going to be gone out for this one because of the sheer amount of videos we put out yesterday. So it'll probably be a quieter stream than normal. But if you're watching this back, as always, would love to know your thoughts on everything I speak about today. And I want to start off by giving a massive shout out to our sponsors, of course, without whom we wouldn't be here. A massive shout out to our friends at manscaped.com. Christmas is coming, folks. You want to get those gifts in early, get yourself over to manscaped.com. Check out not just the Performance Package 4.0, also their ultra premium new body wash and 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You can get 20% off and free shipping on anything at manscaped.com using our discount code WFM20. And I believe there are some great bits and pieces already on sale on the site. With our code, you get another 20% off. And as I said, free shipping. So thank you to our friends at manscaped.com. Right, ladies and gentlemen, how are we? Loads to go through today. Want to talk about the performance last night? Of course I do. Want to bask in another Champions League victory for the Reds? I'm good, thank you, for those asking in the chat. All good. All good, my friends. A little bit on Adeyemi that I want to bring up as well, but I'll wait for the chat to fill up a little bit before we get stuck into that, because nobody wants me to just be repeating myself over and over again. Dan Watson starts off by saying, here comes the injuries, downhill from here. Ah, Dan, come on, man. Let's try and stay upbeat. Let's try and stay positive, Dan. I mean, yeah, look, we're picking up some injuries. You get a couple of players back, i.e. Fabinho and Thiago, and then unfortunately, Bobby Firmino was a hamstring issue, so not great, particularly when we're going to be struggling for forwards in January anyway, with the boys going off to the AFCON. But look, let's just try and keep it as positive as we can. Little bit on Jude Bellingham today as well, of course. You know, you'll get your daily Jude Bellingham update from me, ladies and gentlemen, as is always the case. Any news on wingers incoming? Bish, I will go through everything I have for you, mate, as always, in the next 30-35 minutes. Top of the group with 2 matches to spare, said Liz. And look, let's start off with that. I love that from Liz. Liz is always upbeat and positive. Let's start off with a little reflection on last night's game, shall we? You know, I got a chance to watch it back last night again in its entirety, as you do. You know, you don't let these big Champions League games go without watching them back. And look, I think I was a little bit unfair on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think I gave him a 6 in my match ratings, if my memory's right. But having watched the game back, I didn't give him enough credit for his defensive work in the game. It was a very disciplined performance from Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, which was what was needed last night. So again, I'm more than happy to eat humble pie when I get something wrong. You know, sometimes you see the game in different ways, and maybe my eye was drawn elsewhere. But full credit to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain last night. He stepped up, and I thought he looked knackered in his last 2 games. Played 70 in the game before the last one. Then obviously in the last game, for me, looked like he was blown a little bit, but he put in a good shift last night. And again, looking around other people's player ratings and match reviews, which I do, to see how far off the mark I am, or how right I perhaps got it. And everybody seemed to be lauding Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's performance, so fair play to him. Are you the same bloke from Craig Station? Yes, mate. That is I. This is our main channel. Craig Station's just the one we do for non-Liverpool watch-alongs and stuff. Will Jota start on Sunday? I would imagine so, Mohammed, particularly with Bobby Firmino facing a spell, I should say, on the sidelines. I don't know how long. Hopefully not too long. Again, Jurgen Klopp doesn't have the full information available for Bobby Firmino's extent of his injury yet. He'll have to go through a few scans and stuff like that. But I would say it's fairly safe to suggest that Bobby won't be playing against West Ham at the weekend, unless we're in for a very happy surprise. Great to see Oxlade-Chamberlain finding a position in the squad. He had a job and he did it well. Yes, he did. And one of the things that struck me early on, and I mentioned it during the watch-along, was how much he was tucking in for Kostas Tsimikas, who was really, really far up the pitch last night. Obviously, by intention. And put in a great shift as well, actually, Kostas Tsimikas, which gives Klopp a bit of a headache for the game against West Ham, because I thought Kostas was sensational last night. Answer my question. Firstly, Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? I'll answer what I want to answer, dickhead. And if you don't want to like it or you don't want to be here, fuck off. It's as simple as that. Who the fuck do you think you are telling me to answer your question? You petulant little bitch. Go fuck yourself. I do what I want, mate, and I answer what I want. You are just another little petulant bitch, pain in my ass, and bye-bye. State of them. Right, look. If you could choose 3 incomings and 3 outgoings for the squad, who would you choose? That's fantasy football stuff. I don't want to wish players away. You know, it's fairly well known who Liverpool should or shouldn't get rid of. Divock Origi is available for the right money. I think probably, well, dare I say James Milner at the end of the season will probably move on. News on Adeyemi, absolutely no problem. We'll go through it in a second. I'm just waiting for people to come in because there's no notifications today because you're only allowed 3 live video notifications in a 24-hour period from YouTube. And, of course, we did them yesterday, so this will be a quiet one. As you guys know, like, people might come on and say, hey, this guy's being harsh with somebody in the chat. You show us, me and the chat, respect. You will get it back from me always. Come in and act like an asshole, and that's how I'll treat you. Again, Mohammed, I will get to the Adeyemi stuff in a second, dude. Don't worry, I'm just waiting for people to come in. But look, heck it, you guys are here early. Let's get stuck into it. Right, on Adeyemi. So this is the first bit of news anyway. So Karim Adeyemi has visited Atletico Madrid bosses and is going on basically a bit of a jaunt around Europe, talking to clubs about a potential move for Adeyemi in January. So will he go to Liverpool? Will he go to Germany, as I believe he may do? Will he go somewhere like Atletico Madrid? It looks like a move in January somewhere is a possibility. But as this says, as Florian Plattenberg has said here, it's also a possibility that somebody could sign Adeyemi and then send him back on loan to Salzburg for the rest of the season. So definitely looks like he is looking to make a move. I think that's fair to say. Whether he stays on loan at Salzburg for the rest of the season or not remains to be seen. I wonder potentially if a club were willing to loan him back to Salzburg, would that give them maybe a bit more favour with Salzburg over the transfer, you know, stuff like that. Like, let's say Atleti, Liverpool, Bayern, Dortmund, whoever's interested in the kid, and there will be a lot because he's a talented young footballer. Will that be a way to maybe help grease the wheels a little bit? But we will keep an eye on the situation. My gut feeling has been that a move to Germany is most likely. But look, never rule anything out. I don't think Liverpool will act in the January market personally, unless something serious comes up with injuries. But at the end of the season, well, when I say act, I mean, they could well do a deal like loaning him back to Salzburg for the season, but I don't think we'll be actively looking to bring somebody in January. I'm not saying that's the right decision, you know, before people jump down my throat. I'm just saying that's what I think to be the case. And look, there's a little bit on Bellingham, which I want to touch on in a few minutes as well. What would his price tag be? Do you know what? I don't even want to guess, mate, because that's all I'll be doing is guessing. Let's just say he'll be affordable. And by affordable, I mean in comparison, obviously, to other attacking talents that have made the move in the last window or will be making a move soon. So I would say, look, there's a lot going in terms of appeal for this transfer because there'll be a lot of clubs that could probably afford to sign Adeyemi. There will be a lot of clubs interested in signing Adeyemi. And look, for us, as just looking at it purely through Liverpool spectacles, Adeyemi has had a very good start to the season, has now started to show and prove himself in the Champions League as well with Salzburg. They had an unfortunate loss yesterday, but before that they got off to a great start in the Champions League group. He's really stepped up since Patson Daka moved from Salzburg to Leicester City. And again, it just shows you the absolute quality scouting system that they have in place in Salzburg and the whole Red Bull branded clubs, because they just keep bringing through quality player after quality player after quality player. And it's no secret that it's a style of football that's very similar to a philosophy that Jurgen Klopp has implemented at Liverpool. So there's a reason why we keep looking at Leipzig and Salzburg players, because they're almost prepared for Jurgen Klopp's system before they come in. But look, whether we get the kid or not, I honestly don't know. I haven't got a clue. Bish said, snipe Daka off Leicester. They won't move on Daka, mate. If anything, Iheanacho will probably be the one to fall down the pecking order there. But like, they're going to be looking to the future as well, and knowing that Jamie Vardy can't go on forever. I still think we missed a trick by not going for Patson Daka last summer when he was available for what did he go to Leicester for? 23 million quid, if my memory is correct. But Adeyemi looks an undoubted talent. I actually got to watch a bit of him last night. Or excuse me, was it the night before? When they played Wolfsburg, I watched a little bit of the game, and there's a lot to admire about the kid. He's not finished yet, but why would he be at that age? And by finished, I mean the finished article, sorry. But why would he be at that age? You know what I mean? He's an undoubted talent, and let's wait and see what happens with it. 5-0, Craig, don't leave me hanging. 5-0, Graham. 5-0, Graham. You are correct, sir. I had to do a bit of research on that, Graham, before I could come back and confirm that it was 5-0, mate, but it was indeed. As you correctly said, Graham, it wasn't 3, it wasn't 6, it wasn't 4, it was 5-0, Graham. Spot on, mate. A couple of my mates got one of those, you know, those BBC CFAX t-shirts made up with the score, the scorers and all that shebang. Which, I won't lie, I'm a little bit tempted. I'm a little bit tempted to get one because what a result that was. I thought we'd get that cat as well, big man. I really did. Let's move on to have a little chat around Jude Bellingham while we keep the conversation flowing. So, it looks like Dortmund are trying to bring in Jude Bellingham, Jude's brother, to try and, I suppose, settle the family in and around the Dortmund area, which is a clever move on their behalf. And look, Jude Bellingham is apparently a good footballer. I won't lie to you, folks. I don't know much about his younger brother. But it's a clever move by Dortmund if they can bring him over and settle the family in and around the area. They think that by doing that, they could perhaps keep hold of him past next summer for at least one more year. Obviously not the news that we want to hear as Liverpool fans, but I still believe strongly that Jude Bellingham, Jude will sign for Liverpool Football Club. I'm convinced of it. Now, I'm not convinced of it through any inside information. I've got the same information as everybody else out there, which is none. But, you know, we talk about what Craig Hignett said. We spoke about 442 and others that were reporting it. And one thing that kept coming out when the Bellingham camp were quote tweeting things and replying to things, I didn't hear any denials. Did anybody hear any denials? All I heard was I expected better love reporting or some funny pictures that were quote tweeted. Didn't hear anybody saying it's not happening. So for me, I think this is the one that Liverpool may have been holding off for. Again, just gut feeling. Please don't think this is nailed on because, you know, it's just my gut feeling. But I think he's the big one that Liverpool are willing to make a move for. And one of the reasons why I keep banging on is I think unlike Haaland, unlike Mbappe, unlike other young players who are going to cost a lot of money, I think Jude Bellingham's wages would probably be far more reasonable, which is one of the reasons I think we could well be in that conversation for Bellingham, particularly if, let's say, Jimmy Milner moves on at the end of the season. That's a big chunk of wages because Jimmy came in as a free contract. Well, look, as close to a free contract or free signing as you can get. You know, there's going to be a signing on fee, there's going to be high wages. But if James Milner moves on, and I'm not wishing Milner away, don't get me wrong, but if James Milner moves on, that's a lot of money that the club would have to allocate to somebody for wages. And, you know, Jude Bellingham probably costs a little bit more wage-wise than Jimmy Milner's on, but, you know, it's still a not insignificant amount of money. And again, last night, we might not want to hear this as Liverpool fans, but I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but Jurgen Klopp very quickly last night dismissed the idea that Liverpool will play the kids and ignore these last two Champions League games. He spoke about the money. He spoke about what I've been telling you, the £2.5 million per game that you get when you win in the Champions League group stage. And that's another £5 million potentially on the table. And he spoke about doing what's right for the club, bringing in as much money as possible, as much prize money as possible. And, you know, it just kind of fits in with what I was saying and what we were discussing before. We as fans want silverware. Of course we do. The players will as well. But we can't ignore the realities of modern day football, which is win the League Cup, get 100 grand, or just win a Champions League group stage game and get £2.5 million in prize money. So far, the Reds, without television revenue and stuff like that, have amassed at least 10 million in bonus payments through winning in the Champions League group stages for the 4 games we won. And there's still 2 more to go. So, you know, that is not an insignificant amount of money. And as much as we say, what's £2.5 million to a club like Liverpool, £2.5 million, another £2.5 million, you know, this can be the difference potentially between a signing and not a signing, between somebody getting a wage increase and not getting a wage increase. So, you know, don't expect to see the kids put out by the looks of it anyway from Klopp on the last 2 Champions League group stage games. But it is great that we have topped the group and we are already guaranteed a place in the last 16. That is absolutely awesome because let's remember, when the draw was done, this was talked about as a potential group of death it's actually mad to think that the only team in our group without a European Cup are Atletico Madrid, and we all know how good Atletico Madrid are. Obviously, defending La Liga champions, but they've been humbled not once but twice. And I have to say, watching the game back, like I spoke about at the start of the stream, it made me appreciate even more how well we dealt with the shithousery. And I still stand over what I said, by the way, about the referee. A lot of people seem to be jumping on and saying it was 100% a red card. I still don't think that was a red card. I genuinely don't. And I've always promised you guys one thing, and that is my honesty. And my honest opinion last night was I think Atletico were unlucky. Now, their antics are disgraceful, despicable, and appalling. And, you know, putting them in their place was lovely. Kloppo being able to get the lads to move the ball around and, you know, take no chances, taking Mane off because they were targeting them. I agree with all of that from the manager, all of it. But I still don't think that was a red card. And I can't change my mind because it's my honest opinion. We see those every single day of the week and they're usually just a yellow. But am I complaining about it? No, of course not. I'm absolutely delighted. I just don't think it was a red card. Special K said we blew Madrid out of the water. We did. And you know what? We should have blown them out of the water twice. They were, I don't want to say they were lucky to come back in at the Wanda Metropolitano because, you know, it took courage and some good play to get themselves back into the game, but we shouldn't have allowed them back in. And we weren't allowing them back in last night. That's one thing that certainly stood out to me is Liverpool knew. I seen, and I'm sure you guys noticed as well, when we scored our second goal last night, the camera panned to Simeone and straight away he was doing this, telling his players to keep their heads. We've been here before, lads. But the Reds were having none of it last night. They weren't in the mood to put up with the bullshit from Diego Simeone's boys. And, you know, I still think the ref lost his head a bit, but I will say that the referee did not put up with their antics. That's one thing I will say about the referee. I don't feel he protected Sadio Mane anywhere near enough. I still don't know how Sadio Mane got a booking for getting fouled, not once, but twice. But other than that, the referee wasn't putting up with their antics, which was good to see. Because they are... Yeah, they really aren't easy to like, are they, Atletico? Like, they really aren't. There's a lot to admire about their character and their strength and their determination, but the antics, man, it's not for me. Superglue said, Craig, I see your subscribers now at 126k and climbing. Fingers crossed, dude, yeah, fingers crossed. It's amazing. I'm absolutely blown away that people keep hitting the subscribe button and joining the Anfield Agenda family, but I love it. I do. Don't forget tonight, by the way, 8:45, the big one, the big trio, the one I've been waiting for ages. Myself, James Redmond, and Jack Gill tonight, 8:45, and every Thursday at 8:45. So you don't want to miss out on that one, folks. But look, it's a quiet enough stream. Let's go over to you guys in the chat and see what you want to talk about. Any questions or anything like that, whack them in. Will Salah get a new contract? Said AJ. AJ, mate, like you, I'm sitting here every day. I wake up, I look at my phone, I'm hoping, I'm messaging people, I'm annoying journalists, I'm asking friends of mine who have relationships with journalists to annoy journalists to try and find out, mate, if there's any news. And I have to say the club are keeping it really close to the chest with regards to the negotiations or what stage they're at with them. So the honest answer is, mate, I'm exactly like you. I'm just sitting around hoping and waiting for news. But unfortunately, none as of yet. Any news about Big Nat? Used to always check Twitter to praise him. No. On Nat Phillips, I don't see why there would be much news, to be fair. Look, with all due respect to Nat Phillips, he's not Liverpool calibre. He never was, never will be, but there's a lot to admire about the guy. You know, and look, he was happy to stay as fifth choice centre-back, which is fine. Bish Basuma, I don't know. Mate, I'd have him. You know, I've said that to you before. I said it in the summer. For me, if you were looking for a Gini Wijnaldum replacement and somebody very similar in style, Basuma would have been a fine target. On Gini actually scored twice last night for PSG in the Champions League, which I'm sure you're aware of. Eddie said, any news on Harvey Elliott? Again, same as before. Unfortunately, Eddie, you know, he has stepped up his recovery. I'm sure you've seen the images of him in the aqua fitness or aerobic, or whatever it's called when you're doing shit in the water, you know what I mean? So he's done that. He's been on the bike as well, and he is upping his training, but you got to be careful with the kid because, you know, it's all very well and good us wanting him back, But you want to make sure that this isn't something that could potentially carry over. So with somebody as young as Harvey Elliott, I would definitely say best to err on the side of caution, because how many football careers have been, ruined by players getting too much too young, playing too much too young, and then their bodies breaking down on them. It's important to remember that with lads at 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age, they're still filling out. Their bodies are still developing as well, and muscles growing and all that kind of stuff. So I would just say the club will probably err on the side of caution, but I can't wait. What was that noise? I mean, I don't know what that noise was, but I can't wait, mate. I absolutely cannot wait for him to be back. And every time you see Harvey Elliott, he makes you smile because he's always positive. Great to see him inside Anfield, by the way, at the weekend as well. What striker or midfielder do you want? For me, Steve, I would like... There's a few, I won't lie, mate. There's not just one. Look, I seen something last night that made my heart sink a little bit, and that was because Antonio Conte, obviously taking over the Spurs job, there were links with him immediately to Barella, I should say, and that made my heart sink a little bit, because the idea of Nicola Barella playing for Spurs just does not sit well with me, because he should be playing for a higher caliber club than that if he was to move. So him, look, I would have loved Pedri. That's not going to happen. Jude Bellingham was top of the list of priorities. Basuma is another option. Moving into the attacking ones, they're all names we've heard before: Rafinha, Pedro Neto, Harvey Barnes, Jeremy Doku, Adeyemi. Just the usual suspects, really. Mark said Barcelona legend Xavi is to be announced as the new manager tomorrow. Right, and before we go giving credit to all the journalists and all around that one, let me just give you guys a little bit of I told you so. What did I tell everybody when the Barcelona presidential elections happened? What did I tell every single person that would listen to me was going to happen at Barcelona? Ronald Koeman was going to be sacked, and that Xavi Hernandez will be brought in as the new manager. I said it for a month, got laughed at, and here we go. What's happening? He's getting sacked, or he's being sacked, and who's getting the job? Xavi. So, I do get some stuff right every now and again. A load of people showing love for Pedro Neto in the chat. I've said for a long time, there's something about Pedro Neto that I can just see a bit of fire in his belly, that kind of way. There's a lot to like about Pedro Neto, and I think he would be a very good fit at Liverpool. Now, he has been out for quite a while, obviously, with a fairly serious injury, and I think he should be there or thereabouts now to be coming back. Last time I spoke to my friend who's a Wolves fan, he was saying that late October, November, hopefully, for Neto to come back. Josh said, kind of think you're from the future now. Look, I never get any credit in any of the mainstream media, mate, for any of the shit that I talk about. Never. I never even get mentioned in it. They'll bring up all the other Liverpool channels and accounts, but we just get ignored constantly. But thankfully for you guys that do come in and subscribe and watch the channel, that we do get some stuff right occasionally. And look, we don't boast about it because, sometimes we get stuff right, sometimes we get stuff wrong. It is what it is. Any news on Firmino? Nope. Other than hamstring, it looks like Lem. Klopp spoke about it last night. He'll have to be assessed, stuff like that. Adama is not good enough for Liverpool. Can we finally put that one to bed, by the way? The Adama Traore's Liverpool stuff. He's not good enough for Liverpool. He's in and out of the Wolves team and has flashes of brilliance and can be unplayable, like our manager said on his day, but that day isn't often enough. So for me, that with, of course, the shoulder injury that he consistently has, he's dislocated I think it's his right shoulder. If my memory's right, 4 to 6 times over the past few years. I think Xavi will struggle at Barca. I think he'll get time, though. That's the one thing I will say. I think that Xavi will get time at Barcelona. And look, it is a rebuilding project there. It's very clear to see. And, his club that he currently manages don't want to give him up. I think there's talk of up to 10 million in compensation maybe being due there. Would I go for Vlahovic? Not with the scouting reports that I've read, Josh. And look, I'll be the first one to admit I don't watch a whole lot of Serie A. I find it a very mundane league to watch. Just my opinion. I'm far more of a fan of La Liga and the Bundesliga. But from the scouting reports that I've read, and I've read a few scouting reports, not the right type of player for Liverpool. From what I've read, Now, again, I don't watch Vlahovic. I haven't watched much of Fiorentina, but those that have, like Chris, as an example from LFC Transfer Room, and other people that have watched a lot more of them than me, would say no. Do you think Oxlade-Chamberlain will start on Sunday? No. I think it will be, again, very early days on this one, but I'm guessing Fabinho, Henderson, Thiago for the game on Sunday. That would be my guess of the midfield. Of course, I'll do a full preview for the game over the weekend. What position did I play? I played as a goalkeeper, Mohammed. And I played as a goalkeeper, but I also played for the team a year above me as a left winger. Um, but goalkeeper is definitely the answer, mate. Do Barcelona still owe Liverpool money for Coutinho? No. They might owe money, but not to Liverpool. So my information and what I've read around Felipe Coutinho's transfer to Liverpool was that yes, Barcelona did owe some money, but Liverpool sold off the debt. I don't know who to. I don't know if it was to an investment fund or whatever, but Liverpool apparently sold off the remainder of the debt, have been paid in full by the company they sold it to. So Barcelona may owe money for Coutinho, but it's not to Liverpool. Shaw clear over Robertson. Maybe last season, but certainly not this season. You know, I'll be the first one to admit I thought Luke Shaw was probably the best left back in the Premier League last season, but he is nowhere near the same caliber player this year for whatever reason. People talking about Nkunku as well. Bit of match of the day fever here though, folks. Let's be honest. You know, Nkunku, he's having a bit of a good time with it. Scored last night, obviously against PSG in the Champions League, and I'm not ruling out Nkunku. I'm not. I'm just, you know, every week there's somebody who catches the headlines in the Champions League, and people come into the chat and speak about it. And look, it's great that we see these players around Europe, and it's great that you guys are on the ball, and I love talking about different players from different clubs, but I don't know about Nkunku. I don't watch much of Leipzig. So yeah, I don't know about Nkunku, to be honest. Holding out for a bid for Chiesa. Look, if we were looking to bring somebody in to be as close to Bobby Firmino in the way that we do things, I agree with you. I think Federico Chiesa is as close to perfect for our system as you could get. I mean, you look at the goals that he scores for Juventus, and Juventus team who are, let's be quite fair, floundering at the minute, sort of mid-table, upper mid-table in Serie A. Got a good win again in the Champions League. Chiesa got himself at least one goal I can remember in that game. And if you look back to the summer, there were some articles saying that Liverpool were interested in Chiesa. I think it might have been, it was either Corriere dello Sport or Gazzetta dello Sport, but one of them spoke about Liverpool being interested, but himself and his father wanting him to remain in Italy at this stage of his career, which is understandable. You know, he's still developing, he's still relatively young, but I think right now it's probably right that he's in Juventus. It's probably right that he's in Italy. I think sometimes young players are rushed through, and I think Haaland is another example. For me, like Bellingham, I don't want this as a Liverpool fan, but if I'm representing Jude Bellingham or I'm representing Erling Haaland, I would tell him to stay at Dortmund for another year. I would say finish up this season and next season, because there's plenty of time for these guys to move on. And sometimes, like an example, I think that that young centre back from Ajax who went to Juventus, what's his name again? Can't think of his name off the top of my head. The young centre back was part of that Ajax team that made it all the way through and went then to Juventus. I think that was completely the wrong move. De Ligt, yes, excuse me, Matthias De Ligt, yes. I think that was the wrong move. At the time, I didn't understand why. I thought another year with Ajax probably would have done him no harm whatsoever. And yeah, for me, I think it was the wrong move for his development. How's the health problems? I'm not sure what you mean, Robert. I'm not trying to be mean, mate. I don't know what you mean. If you're talking about me, I'm all good, dude. All good. What else is there? Would you start Canade or Matip on Sunday? Joe Matip. I mean, Eddie, I love Canade, dude. Absolutely love him, but I think we are better with Joe Matip alongside Van Dijk in there. I think Matip is the better foil to allow Van Dijk to recover. Now, I understood the decision when Matip was brought out against Manchester United. And I say I understood it. It was one of you guys in the chat that helped me understand it, to be fair, because I was a bit baffled when I seen Canade's name on the team sheet. But when it was pointed out to me that it was probably to help with the pace of Rashford, and that made sense. I don't know. Maybe with the strength of Antonio, Canade would be a good option, which I could understand as well. And look, it's great that we have these headaches. They're good headaches to have. It's better than who the hell is going to play. You know what I mean? Last year we were wondering if we got anyone left to play at centre back. This year, we've almost got too many good centre backs. So yeah, nice. Okay, Roberts, you had your chance, mate, to be part of our chat, and now you're just spamming shite. So bye bye. Cedric said love the singing yesterday. Thank you, dude. Much appreciated. Who's better, Conte or Kante? One's a manager, one's a central midfielder, but they're both pretty good, to be fair. Would I like Idrissa Gueye at Liverpool? No, no, I wouldn't. Decent player, don't get me wrong, but nah. Big bang of Everton off him still, even though he's a PSG. Diogo Jota is the best Portuguese in the league, Craig. When you're right, you're right. Do you know what I mean, mate? When you're right, you're right. Sam said, "What's the goss?" Nothing really new, mate. We're just going back over the stories. Look, for those coming a little bit late, wondering what the Adeyemi news is. So, Karim Adeyemi has apparently visited Atletico Madrid bosses in Madrid, and he's part of a jaunt around Europe, basically talking to different clubs. As reported by Florian Plettenberg, he is available in January, but maybe a potential loan move back to Salzburg would be easier to get that deal done. So look, I don't know where Adeyemi ends up, but it looks like he's shopping himself around Europe at the minute, and let's wait and see what happens. I think probably he'll end up in Germany, but let's wait and see what happens on it. Craig, the Barella contract for Inter is done. They just need to announce it. Well, then Conte's going to be sorely very annoyed, because I read an article that apparently Conte's looking to try and bring him to Spurs, which I'd be baffled at, to be honest, if he went to Spurs. Craig, would you rather Ireland win the Euros or Liverpool in the Champions League? Ireland win the Euros because of what it would mean to the country, mate. So Liverpool have won European Cups before and will win European Cups again, but the odds of Ireland winning a major international football trophy would be quite slim, unlike myself. How do I feel if Liverpool play United in the Champions League knockout stages? I could give a shite. We beat them. I mean, if we draw United in the knockout stages, we beat them. Simple as that. We're a better team. Kessie is linked with Spurs. Look, he didn't even get a game, by the way. He didn't even start yesterday for Milan in their game against Porto. So, I'm still one of those people that don't believe the Frank Kessie links to us are real. I just think it's lazy. It's lazy because he's on a free contract. No news on Bobby Nathan, no, other than it's a hamstring issue, but yeah, no news with regards to updates. What do I think about Robertson? I don't think he's at his best form at the minute. But the upside of that is that we have another very good left back who's pressurised Andy Robertson and Costa Simicas, and hopefully this will lead to the levels going up again from both of them as they battle it out for the left back spot. So, I mean, it's a good headache for us to have. Yeah, I don't know what to say other than the manager must be loving life at the minute, looking at the options he has at left back, because Andy Robertson, Costa Simicas, absolutely quality, both of them. But I thought that we would see Costa Simicas last night, and I'm glad that we did because he put in a good shift. I'm not going through the top 10 youngsters, mate. Jesus Christ, do you think I have these things just to hand here to just name 10 youngsters off the top of my head in order? Come on, dude, that needs research. What else we got? What team do I fear the most this season? Good question. Probably Chelsea. Particularly with the Premier League. I get the feeling that they're going to be the team to beat. Well, I don't get the top of the league, aren't they? It's not that hard to look at them and say they're probably the biggest headache. But yeah, I think Chelsea, certainly in the Premier League, are showing the most consistency at the minute. my mind does go back to the game against them at Anfield, though, when they were down to 10 men and we just couldn't find the breakthrough because they defended really well. It still wrangles me that we didn't get the 3 points there. I'm guessing it'll be Mane, Salah, Jota against West Ham. I would say so, Nathan, unless we get an absolute shock. I think so. What's your all-time five-a-side Liverpool team? Oh God, mate, I don't know. Five-a-side, probably Pepe Reina for five-a-side now. Pepe Reina, Van Dijk, uh, Hansen, Gerrard, Fowler, Dalglish for five-a-side because I'm trying to go for the skillful players there. When you do watch-alongs, do you watch the game on mute? Yes, unfortunately, which is crap because you don't get to hear the atmosphere or anything like that. So it's why I tend to watch them back later on. But sometimes watching the games on mute is a good thing because you're not influenced by the crowd or things like that. So sometimes it can be a good thing. Rafinha or Anthony? Rafinha's the more proven at this moment. Anthony in his first season, obviously at Ajax. I think he came in from Sao Paulo. But he's doing very well at Ajax. Certainly want to keep an eye on. But right now, Rafinha. But I think Anthony will be a quality footballer. He's still 21 years of age, I think, as well. So, yeah, rather young still. Trade Origi for Ivan Toney. And you think that's going to happen? You think Brentford are sitting there praying that we offer them Divock Origi for Ivan Toney? It's not as simple as us just naming players, throwing them off to random clubs and saying, hey. And look at the recruitment, by the way, of Brentford in the attacking positions. You know, they lost out on Ollie Watkins, replacing with Ivan Toney. You know, their recruitment is pretty good, to be fair. I did see something in the media last night suggesting that Barcelona are going to offer Felipe Coutinho on loan to Newcastle, and also that Eddie Howe is now the front runner for the Newcastle job, which I'm sure you guys have seen after Unai Emery ruled himself out. Do I believe Reece James has surpassed Trent? Do I fuck? No, he hasn't. They were only talking about this last night as well on BT, and again saying the same thing, that Trent is the best right back, because he is the best right back. Reece James is an outstanding player. Absolutely, no doubt about that, but no, he should not surpass Trent, mate. Trent's almost, reinventing the position to some extent. Alejandro said the deal makes huge sense for Coutinho to Newcastle. But where does, if that's the level, so Coutinho to Newcastle, why the fuck would we want them? Because still some Liverpool fans that say to me, would you take Coutinho back? He's now being offered to a team fighting relegation in the Premier League. And we're happy to admit in the chat, rightly, that that's probably the level he's at. So that's why my point is, why would I have him back at Liverpool? Do I consider Ryan Brewster a flop, or is it too soon? No, I don't consider him a flop, but I do think it hasn't worked out for him at Sheffield United, and why that is the case, I don't know, but I will stand over. I think that Ryan Brewster is a very talented young footballer. Just, unfortunately, seems like that wasn't the right move. No, I can't do a Klopp accent, mate. I don't do accents. I'm not Al Foran. No, Al Foran be your man, the Irish fella, for all the accents. The Leipzig Michael Edwards thing is bullshit, mate. It's already been put to bed. There was an article last night suggesting that Leipzig are looking to bring in Michael Edwards. It's not true. If anything, Barcelona have looked at Michael Edwards, whose contract with Liverpool currently set to run out at the end of the season. Yeah. So there you go. That's the only information I have on Michael Edwards, is that it isn't Leipzig. He's not gone to Leipzig. Leipzig put out a post about this last night. If you were to take one person from United and take one player out of Liverpool, who would you choose? Well, obviously you're giving me an easy out there. I take somebody like Origi out, and who would I take? Greenwood. Take Mason Greenwood. Be a great addition to our attacking lineup if we could get Greenwood in. So yeah, Greenwood. If you could sign any one player who, Bellingham or Haaland, probably. Pogba for Ox, I wouldn't let Paul Pogba near our under 23s, mate, let alone the first team. Him and his attitude and his Mina Raiola circus can do one, not a hope. Favourite Liverpool youngster? It's got to be Harvey Elliott, doesn't it, Eddie? It's got to be Harvey Elliott. Harvey Elliott, Cade Gordon, Musialowski looks like a huge talent as well. The Edwards thing is 100% nonsense. It's already been poo-pooed by Leipzig. So yeah. Look, on that, ladies and gentlemen, just was a quick one. Just said, come on, have a little one-on-one with you guys again. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, manscaped.com. Don't forget to go over to Manscaped. Check out anything for Christmas. Where they've got your uncle, I was going to say your aunt, maybe your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your friend, your best mate, whatever. Get over to manscaped.com. Don't forget to check out their 2 brand new products, the Ultra Premium Body Wash and the 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner. Clearly, I don't need the shampoo and conditioner, but the brand new body wash is quality, ladies and gentlemen, and it is infused with aloe vera and sea salt to keep your skin feeling clean, nice and moisturized. And as I said, there are some great offers on Manscaped, but you can already beat that with 20% off and free shipping on top of whatever offers are already on the site with our discount code WFM20. I'll be back tonight, ladies and gentlemen, 8:45, myself, James Redmond and Jack Gill for a late night agenda tonight. Hope to see you guys then. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Drop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button.